folks. Welcome to an all new episode of So Bad It's Good. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Tuesday episode. This is a brand new episode. I don't know if this part will make it to YouTube, but I have my night bandages on because I had them on earlier because it's been a little bit of a rougher day pain wise. So I put the bandages on because I've had a little blood here and there. So I didn't want to rip the night bandages off. So I am talking with you through the night bandages. But I also want to let you know if this does make it to YouTube, there looks like I ate a bit of poo on the bottom of this bandage. And I want to assure you that I didn't. Rebecca made me a brownie, and let me enjoy a brownie for the love of God. Can I enjoy a brownie? I'm in pain. I had a brownie, and it got on my night bandages, and I didn't want to rip it off, so it looks like I ate a little piece of poo. Like, I'm so sorry, guys. What can I tell you? Like, am I just gonna resist a brownie? Like, I'm in pain. I deserve a brownie for the love of God. Get off my back, you guys. How are you guys? Are you good? I hope so. I hope you enjoyed Monday's show. I was listening to pieces of it, and you could just tell how out of it I was having the time of my life, but I was so out of it. And I'm a little clearer today, but today was like a weirdly painful day. And I had this weird thing where I went to bed early, but I woke up at like 4:45 in the morning, and I had to like change some bandages, and then I was just up. I was like started stressing out about like it was like that back to school vibe because I knew I had to like start getting back to work and thinking about work and thinking about what I want to do for this year. Because when you're on a lot of pain medicine, you don't really think about those things. You're just like, I just want the pain to go away. And today I went and did Shenanigans, Sheena Shea's podcast, which should be airing on Friday. And there's a big announcement in there, and I was so happy to be there for it. And she told me what it was, and I was like, oh, you know what? I don't feel great, but I gotta be there. I gotta be there for this. So I can't wait for you guys to hear that. It went good. We only had to stop one time when I had a coughing fit, and I was so embarrassed, but they were so cool about it. Sheeta's always great. Tomorrow or today, I'll be on Jeff Lewis Live with Sarah Colonna, Doug Butin, and the one and only Sutton Strack. All right, it's me, Sutton. Oh wow, I can still kind of do the Sutton voice even through the bandages. That's good news. I can't do the Erica Jane anymore. Well, I can. Okay. This is a professional podcast, folks. I want to talk about so I'm going to be on Jeff Lewis, Sirius XM. Tune in. Also, happy birthday to Doug Butin. Happy birthday to Shane Douglas, who I've met both through Jeff Lewis this past year. And this Thursday, I'll be on Cookin' Kibitz, which is Doug Butin's Instagram live cooking show. And there's going to be tons of chumps there. I think Jeff's going to be there, Jackie Schimmel, Joey Zhao. I mean, it's going to be like the whole crew of people. You just tune into Doug Butin's Instagram. It's totally free, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that seems like it's going to be a mess. So I'm going to go do that tomorrow, which I'm really excited about. I can't wait. And then afterwards, we're going to drive to the doctors to get my nose stents removed. I cannot wait to get these things out. But I hear when they yank them out, it's pretty painful. So I'm very nervous. I got the funniest, well, the weirdest, not the weird. I got the funniest DM earlier, and it just shows you. It's like this thing is like no joke. I love everybody's been sharing their sinus surgery stories with me. I don't want to give this person's name, but she was really awesome. She said, "Hey there, to make you feel better, my husband had sinus surgery earlier this year. He's a tough guy, a Marine. He fought in Afghanistan. Thank you for your service. And he was down for the count for about 2 weeks. It took him out." And then she wrote, "Funny side note, we laughed because after I gave birth to a 10-pound baby, they told me immediately to try to walk. And then the next day, they sent me home with a literal human to care for. And after sinus surgery, his surgeon was like, you really need to take it easy and don't lift your kids for 14 days. Isn't that insane? They like literally the next day they let you go home with a kid, but with this sinus surgery, they have to tell you to chill out for 2 weeks. I chilled out for a week, okay? I'm trying to. I'm not going to push it as hard as I usually do, but I got to get back out there. I hope you guys understand. Today's guest is amazing. I was supposed to release this last week because we did this a couple of weeks ago, and I purposely did it to release the week that I was out. But I had to tell you, I felt so bad that I was not able to do the intro to put it out. Like that's how much pain I was in. So today we finally get to hear this interview, and it is so awesome, you guys. His name is Evan Bogart. Also, he goes by Kid, Evan Kid Bogart. Dude, this guy is a legend. He is a multi-platinum songwriter, producer, an executive of his own label, and he's made songs, you guys, for Beyonce, a Grammy Award winning song for Beyonce, a little song called Halo, SOS for Rihanna, Madonna, Lizzo, Britney Spears, Demi Lovato, Jennifer Lopez, everybody. And he has so many good Hollywood stories of just, you know, who he grew up around and what he's made of his life. And I could have talked to this dude for hours. I geeked out so heavily. I hope this is the first of many conversations. I want to shout out his representation too, who listens to this show. She emailed us, and I just want to give a gigantic thanks to her because she knew that I would love to talk to him, and I did. I loved every moment of it. So I hope this is one of many conversations because this dude has stories for days. This dude is so talented, and we just scratched the surface of talking about creating songs and you know his time in the industry. And I think you're going to love him. I think you're going to love him. Remember, there's a timestamp if you want to skip right to him, because I'm going to do a couple pop culture stories and talk a couple more personal things before we get to that. But that's our guest today. And I hope you love it as much as I did. So, yeah, that's our guest. Very excited. Okay, back to some other things I wanted to talk about. Guess what I've spent the last 3 hours doing? And don't say crying because you got brownie on your night bandages. No, no. I watched the first 3 episodes of the new season of The Traitors. It's me, Alan Cumming for The Traitors. That's right, dude. Dude, that popped up in my email today, and I was like, it was like a gift from God. It was like God was looking after me saying, Ryan, I know you're in pain. I'm going to give you the first 3 episodes of The Traitors new season. It was actually NBC Universal, but I'll just say it was God. So I just spent the last 3 hours watching the first 3 episodes. And I'm not allowed to give anything away because it premieres on Thursday on Peacock. So the first 3 episodes premieres on Thursday. I guys, all I will say that I can't give any. I just can't wait to talk about this show. I can't wait to laugh with you guys about this show. I can't wait to talk about the gameplay. There's some real stars already. I want to remind people that Tom Sandoval is on this season. I don't want to give anything away, but I just want to I want to remind people because there's so much happening in our lives right now that I want to remind you to completely disassociate with TV, film, and music. And don't forget that this Thursday, The Traitors comes on. So I wanted to mention that. And I can't wait for you guys. I can't wait for Friday so I can start talking about it because we will be talking about it. Oh, yes, we will be talking about it. So that was awesome. Did you guys? Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to let you know. They announced today, we talked about Gypsy Rose yesterday, Gypsy Rose Blanchard with Sophie, and they Lifetime officially announced the second season of Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup, which will be on Lifetime. I think I said that, will premiere March 10th. So this will be her pregnancy journey, her getting back together with Ken after dumping Ryan, who we saw in the first season. If you did not watch the first season of Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. I loved it. Like my tastes are skewing very weird as I get older, but it's just so bizarre. Never in a million years did I think we would. I guess maybe I did think that eventually we would watch somebody that went to prison get out and watch their life. I don't know. Like, it's just still such a bizarre story, Gypsy Rose Blanchard's story. And the weird thing about it is that it's turned into like a little bit of a conventional reality show where there's like deception, deceit, potential cheating. There's all of this stuff that you see on Vanderpump Rules, but it's like this girl that just got out of prison who was like part of unaliving her mother, a tragic story. And I don't know, you guys. The first season took me out, so I'm so excited for the second season. I would love to interview Gypsy Rose. I'm putting that out there. I'm putting that out there in the universe. Also, we have a docu-series premiering on Netflix today. You know him, you love him. The one and only Jerry Springer. Rest in peace to the Jerry Springer, the guy that kind of reinvented daytime television in certain ways. there's a two-part docuseries on Netflix that premieres today called Fights, Camera, Action, Jerry Springer. I cannot wait to watch that. Also, fans of the show The Last of Us on HBO Max. We get our second season sometime in April. They showed a little teaser trailer today. They haven't given us the exact date in April, but if you watch the first season, I thought it was awesome. Pedro Pascal, so good. So we get our second season in April, so that's something to look forward to. Also, I was thinking about other things to look forward to in 2025, and I want to do a longer episode about this because I can't really get into it too much because I still am in a little bit of pain. But I just want to remind people. I think I reminded you guys like a couple weeks ago. This year, 2025, TLC will premiere The Baldwins. Alec Baldwin, Hilaria Baldwin. How you say cucumber? How you say onion? Like, they are the Baldwins reality TV show is premiering on TLC sometime in 2025. The network that brought you 90 Day Fiance, the network that brought you Dr. Pimple Popper, the network that brought you the Seven Tiny Johnstons. They're Alec Baldwin. Like, this is how crazy the universe is. I grew up watching Alec Baldwin as an actor. Like, even like before 30 Rock. He killed it on 30 Rock. I remember him in a movie based Glengarry Glen Ross. It was a David Mamet play. They made it into a movie. Al Pacino, Jack Lemmon, Kevin Spacey. It was just an actor's feast. And Alec Baldwin came in. He had like one or two scenes, like one scene, I think. And he crushed it. He crushed that scene so hard in front of people like Pacino and all of these actors. And this dude is such a phenomenal actor, but he's made some really bizarre choices in his life. A lot of different things. And I just can't, I never thought, it's like the Gypsy Rose Blanchard thing, but different. Like, I never thought I would live in a world where Alec Baldwin would be participating in a reality TV show. Like, there's something where I'm so titillated by the thought of that, and I will be glued to my chair. I'm already glued to my chair, but I'll be like willfully glued to my chair just to watch that show. And people keep writing like, "Oh, it's going to be terrible." Yeah, probably. That's why I want to watch it. Like, that sounds amazing. Because he's probably not going to be thrilled to be doing a reality TV show. So he's going to have that like kind of that angry Alec Baldwin thing. Oh, I don't know. So that's coming up. Paul Thomas Anderson, he's one of my favorite film directors ever. He's the guy that did Boogie Nights, Magnolia, Punch Drunk Love. There Will Be Blood. Gosh, I'm trying to think of his entire career. Phantom Thread, Daniel Day-Lewis, Inherent Vice, Licorice Pizza. Well, his new movie for Warner Brothers, I believe, it's going to star Leonardo DiCaprio. And it comes out sometime in 2025. And a fun fact, Paul Thomas Anderson, I think, is just one of, if not my favorite film director of all time. Boogie Nights means so much to me, and so does Magnolia. Magnolia is like a 3.5-hour soap opera. Like, I don't know. I could do a whole podcast just talking about Magnolia. But this film, they have a working title for it now. It is called, tentatively, The Battle of Bacton Cross, Baktan, The Battle of Bacton Cross. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Regina Hall, Sean Penn, Alana Haim, Teyana Taylor, Wood Harris, and Benicio del Toro. So that's going to come out sometime in 2025. And I can't wait to see what he does, because this will be the highest budget film that he's ever done. It's over $100 million. And that shocks me, because he usually keeps his budgets kind of low because his films can be a little artsy in a great way, but a little artsy. But I'm so curious. It'll be the first time he's worked with DiCaprio. But a fun fact was that Boogie Nights, the role eventually went to Mark Wahlberg of Dirk Diggler, but eventually the first offer went out to Leo DiCaprio. Leo DiCaprio was initially supposed to be Dirk Diggler, and it eventually didn't happen, and it went to Mark Wahlberg. And the funny thing is, Mark Wahlberg now he doesn't seem to be proud to have been in Boogie Nights. He's very religious, there's a lot of things that you could probably justify why he might not be ranting and raving about that movie, because I think it's a genius movie. But Mark Wahlberg, best performance of Mark Wahlberg's career was in Boogie Nights. Like I was back. Like remember Mark Wahlberg, like Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, because he was Donnie Wahlberg's brother, who was Donnie from New Kids on the Block, and then all of a sudden Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch came out, and they had the feel the vibration. It's such a good vibration. Come on, come on, come on. They had that hit. They had this song where they sampled the Lou Reed song "Walk on the Wild Side." So, anyways, Mark Wahlberg was a rapper. Then he was a Calvin Klein underwear model, and then he started acting. I think one of his first films was Renaissance Man, directed by Penny Marshall, starring Danny DeVito. And he was like, whatever. I kind of wrote him off. And then all of a sudden, he did a couple other films, one being The Basketball Diaries with Leonardo DiCaprio. And that was pretty cool. You're like, oh, this kid's in an interesting, like, he might be more than just Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. But then Boogie Nights came along and it just blew me away. And I couldn't tell. I was like, is this guy is this guy a good actor, or is this guy legitimately, like, some people, like, they're not good actors, they're just good at being themselves. I was like, is Mark Wahlberg just like Dirk Diggler in real life? I don't know, just fantastic flippin' film, Boogie Nights, if you haven't seen it. Obviously, I am I'm so excited to be talking to you guys, and I have a list of things to talk to you about. So I am, and I'm already gone off my list because I didn't plan on talking about Boogie Nights. I wanted to talk about a couple other things that I watched this past week, and then we'll get to our interview. But if you want to skip ahead, I want to remind you once again there is a timestamp. Okay. Okay. So I watched a lot of stuff this past week, but I would like watch it and then fall asleep and have to go back to where I fell asleep at. So this is like kind of a disjointed list, but I kept a list. And I thought I would watch way more, but it sometimes hurt. Like I had light sensitivity. But I want to say I did watch one show, like 16 episodes of this, and it was such a perfect healing show, or like when you're like sick and not feeling good. There's a new show on Amazon Prime Video. So if you have Amazon Prime, you get it with your Amazon Prime subscription. It's called Pop Culture Jeopardy. It's the people that actually do the show Jeopardy. It's hosted by Colin Jost, the guy from Weekend Update, and I think Colin Jost is so funny. Sometimes I don't want to like Colin Jost, but I just do. I read his memoir too, and I thought that was like super funny as well. He's married to Scarlett Johansson, but he hosts Pop Culture Jeopardy. I think he does a great job, but it's weirdly a very, like, the first episode took me out. The first episode I did not do well, because it's like Jeopardy, but just pop culture categories: movie, TV, films, music, everything that we love, reality shows, all that jazz. But the first episode, I was like, oh shit, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. But then I started crushing it from episode 2 on. I don't know what, that first episode was weirdly tough. So if you start watching it, just realize you might be a little like out of the loop with the first episode, but as they continue, it's actually really good. It reminds you of things that you've forgotten. There's like, I don't know, I love little factoids like that. I love learning more about pop culture. So I will say Pop Culture Jeopardy, it was the perfect show. There's like, I think 16 episodes right now on Amazon Prime, but go check that out. I really dug that. And then I started making a list of all of the things that I've seen so far in 2025. My Evernote is giving me a little bit of a hassle. One sec. Oh, here we go. Okay, I found it. I watched, there's a new Elton John documentary on Disney Plus about his career that I really enjoyed. That was worth watching. Talks about, like, kind of intersperses his last year, his last touring year, which is a couple years ago. I finally got to see him live. And, obviously, what a legend, blew me away. But it intersperses the last year of his touring and then takes us back to the beginning of his career. I thought it was great. There was this really, I think I mentioned it on Monday's show, but I wanted to mention it again. There is this beautiful movie, really funny, charming movie called My Old Ass on Amazon Prime, directed and written by, I believe her name is Megan Park. and I think it's just fantastic. I also watched Conclave, which is streaming on Peacock. That was nominated for a bunch of Golden Globes. It actually won one for Best Adapted Screenplay. I believe that's the award it won for. But it has Ray Fiennes, Stanley Tucci, Isabella Rossellini, John Lithgow. I mean, this thing is star studded, and it's all about choosing a new pope. Having the conclave where all the priests come together and pick the new pope, and there's a big, I don't want to give anything away, but there's a little bit of a twist. But I thought that was a really interesting, good movie. And Ray Fiennes, this guy, just like, he started his career off with Schindler's List. If you remember his performance in Schindler's List, it was so bone chilling. He was like new on the scene, but he's done everything. Like The English Patient. Think about everything Ray Fiennes has been in. I mean, he even did Made in Manhattan with Jennifer Lopez. There's nothing this man can't do. But I really loved his choices the last couple of years. He was also the lead actor in The Menu. Remember The Menu that came out a couple years ago? I thought that was so creepy and fantastic. But I thought he was great in Conclave as well. So I watched that. I watched a bunch of episodes of People Magazine Investigates on Max. I was like, yeah, I think Kate Casey recommended that to me. And so I tried a couple episodes. It was cute. Not cute. It was like dealing with murder and stuff. Well, it's cute. No, it was like digestible. God, I was out of my mind right now. I started watching the cartoon Creature Commandos. James Gunn is behind that. James Gunn, obviously, he's the guy that the director of the trilogy for Guardians of the Galaxy, but he has the keys to the DC superhero comic book universe, and he's the guy that directed the new Superman movie that's coming out in July. But he's in charge of DC, and Creature Commandos is his first effort. But it's a cartoon form about a bunch of anti-heroes that come together, kind of like the Suicide Squad, if you watch them. But I watched a bunch of episodes of Creature Commandos. I thought it was really, for like a superhero geek, if that's your thing, your husband or boyfriend's thing, or even your thing, you might dig it. It's on Max as well. I started watching Shrinking on Apple TV. I can't wait to get further into that. I swear to God, though, Apple TV, what is it with Apple TV, you guys? They literally dare you to watch. They're like, we dare you to find us. We know you know our computers and our phones and our AirPods, but do you know we have a network that we pay billions of dollars for people to be in projects, and then we don't really properly advertise them? The new season of Severance comes out in like a week and a half, and I'm still trying to get people to watch the first season. It's so flippin' good. But Shrinking is on Apple TV as well. But I just find it so wild that there's literally, that's why I feel like they must be laundering money through Apple TV, because how are there so many shows I've never fucking heard about every time I go on Apple TV? I'm like, wait a sec. Like, you think, like, they always seem like things that like 30 Rock would like make up TV shows or films. Like, they'd have like a poster in the background that Tracy Morgan's character was in, and you'd be like, what? Like, that's what I feel like when I look at like Apple TV's menu, because I'm like, why have I not heard about any of these? And it's all looks like very expensive television. Anyways, I really have enjoyed Shrinking so far. Then we'll take it on over to, I watched Inside Out 2 on Disney Plus. I loved Inside Out 1. I loved Inside Out 2. I thought I was going to love it way more, but I think the pain was getting to me that day. So I wish I could have said I loved it even more. I watched The Substance again. Loved it. Watched Wham! Last Christmas. It's just an hour documentary on Netflix about the making of the song Last Christmas and the music video with George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley. I thought that was great. Watched Dune 2 again with Timothy Chalamet. And Zendaya, which, by the way, big news, Zendaya did get engaged to Tom Holland over the holidays. We had confirmation today by People Magazine. So we talked about yesterday the rumors of her, like, oh, is that an engagement ring? It was an engagement ring. She is officially engaged to Tom Holland, and they just seem like they seem like a great couple. And what I love about them is that I don't want to know anything about them. Like, I am so happy just to let them have that relationship. Like, I'm like, good for you guys. Just go be happy. Make babies if you want to make babies. Just go be happy. You kids are great. You're both so talented. And it's like, I love people like that where you're like, yeah, I wonder who's going to cheat first. Like, I just it doesn't even cross my mind. So congratulations. But I watched Dune 2 again. Loved it again. And then what else do we got here? Watched a couple of other things. I watched Squid Game Season 2, which I really enjoyed. I personally liked it. I do recommend it, but it does end on a weird note, but just deal with it. The third season is right around the corner. And then what else do we have? Okay. I also on Netflix, I watched Avicii. There was an EDM DJ named Avicii. His real name was Tim, but unfortunately, he passed away a couple of years ago. I thought it was a beautiful documentary on Netflix about his life and his work. And also, they have his last EDM concert. They have that on Netflix as well. But even if you don't like EDM music and you're a lover of documentaries, I think this is a fascinating peek behind the curtain. Somebody that had real musical talent and like the pressures of fame and success and performing live. I don't know. I thought it was really, really interesting. Oh God, you guys, I geeked out heavily on this. CNN, Luther Vandross, the R&B artist who unfortunately passed away a long time ago. I grew up with Luther Vandross, not literally. God, I wish. No, it's because my parents had a bunch of Luther Vandross albums, and I always talk about that thing where we were always uh, we were the prisoner of the music that we had access to. So like I had access to Michael Bolton albums and Kenny G albums because of my mom, and my dad I had access to like the Beatles albums. But like Luther Vandross, they both loved, and I was like I kind of like Luther Vandross. Like I remember listening to a bunch of Luther Vandross albums as a kid, and I wasn't like, oh, this is cool, but I liked it, right? But now you realize how fucking cool this man was. Well, CNN did this documentary called Luther Never Too Much. I think it's streaming on CNN or streaming on Max or one of the streaming services. But I just thought it was so great how he started his career. He hooked up with David Bowie to do the song Young Americans. He was one of the background singers and then ended up actually collaborating more than just a background singer. And David Bowie was like, I love you, dude. Like, imagine that being a like background singer. And then David Bowie, of all people, takes a shine to you. He also he was like the king of singing commercial jingles. Like they're like, Luther, why would you ever want to be a solo artist? You're making all of this money singing like jingles for commercials. You're the best in the biz. And then he released his first solo album and it like kind of went off the charts. And just an amazing, amazing career. He was gone way too soon, but what a talent. I was in heaven watching that documentary. And then I watched a horrible movie called Juror Number Two that Sophie Ross loved. Rebecca loved it as well. I did not like that, Juror Number Two, but I watched it. And then how did I get on? I'm listening to an audiobook about Joan Didion right now, the author who wrote so many amazing books, Play It As It Lays. Obviously, The Year of Magical Thinking if you're dealing with grief or grieving, The Year of Magical Thinking is a book that I highly recommend to everyone. Even if you're not dealing with grief or grieving, a beautiful book. And what an amazing writer. But I watched the Netflix documentary, Joan Didion, The Center Will Not Hold. Another person with a fascinating life. Her nephew is the actor and director and writer Griffin Dunn, and he wrote a beautiful memoir this year called, what was it? I loved it so much. Griffin Dunn is another dream interview of mine. I know these are not reality show people, but listen, we can expand our dreams, right? What is that book called? It's so good. My mind is not working nearly as well as it used to. Oh, The Friday Afternoon Club by Griffin Dunn. I thought it was a great memoir, but it talks about Joan Didion. It talks about his dad, Dominic Dunn. Really great. Highly recommend. And he also directed the documentary on his aunt, Joan Didion. And I thought that was a fantastic documentary as well. So that is kind of everything I watched, I believe. And then there was like just things in the background where I was like just moaning, like, so maybe I watched some other things, but I just do not have any recollection. Okay, that's what I wanted to catch you guys up with. We'll go into more entertainment news stories tomorrow, more current reality show based. Remember, tonight we have the return of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And also, I want to remind you, you have the last two episodes of The Curious Case of Natalia Grace, the final chapter on HBO Max Discovery ID. So you got a lot of stuff out there to keep up with. But we have Evan Bogart, who I talked about in the beginning, and I do a big intro for him, as I usually do. I do want to let you know, though, the first 30 seconds of this in the intro, there's a little light feedback that might be potentially a little annoying to you, because it's annoying to me. I tried to correct it. There was not much I could do, but then it evens out. It's not that bad, but I just want to let you know that I am aware. I know how sensitive sometimes our ears can be. And I'm just so excited to talk to this dude. I cannot wait for you to listen to him. I think you're going to love him. And you're just not going to believe. Go look up this guy. Go look up this guy after you hear this interview, because it's just, we just talked about the tip of the iceberg with him. Once again, his name is Evan Bogart. His nickname is Kidd, Kidd. His Instagram is Kidd Bogart, Kidd Bogart. Go follow this dude. I mean, just go. I just can't wait for you to hear it. Anyways, here is my interview with Evan Bogart. Have a great Tuesday, you guys. Bye.